In this video, I'm going to talk about how my business did in April. I'm going to talk about some challenges and talk about some of the successes of the month. So in April, we did around 46K in sales on Amazon FBA. So I'll show you the sales graph real quick and I'll kind of explain generally how much profit that is. So I'll talk about how much profit that is. I'll talk about what Amazon FBA is, what my business model is. So Amazon FBA is basically where you're able to send your items into Amazon FBA so that they are sent out to the customer when they sell. That way I don't have to sit here and ship all the items every single time something sells. They take a fee for that, but oftentimes it's well worth it if you keep that in mind. I do what's called online arbitrage, where I buy from sites at a cheaper price and then sell for retail or over retail on Amazon where all the customers are. So the question that most people ask when looking at sales, especially on Amazon, is, great, you did 48K in sales. What percentage of that is profit? And I honestly don't know what my percentage of profit is. And usually what I do is I wait until around 7 days after the month is over. That way all of the numbers in Inventory Lab, which is what I use to do bookkeeping, kind of finalize. But from what I'm looking at right now, it's probably somewhere in the ballpark of $9,000 to $11,000 of profit. So that is profit after factoring in all the things like paying for software, paying for the prep center, which I'll explain later, paying for anything else in the business. So that includes all of the costs. So if I get out my calculator, let's say it's $10,000 profit, 46,000 in sales is around 21% ROI. So sometimes people look at the margin and they're like, man, it should really be like 30% or 40%. And then there's other outsiders who are more accustomed to businesses and they're like, 20%? Oh my gosh, how on earth? For an Amazon business, from what I've kind of heard and understood, people doing like over 30K a month, anywhere in the 10 to 25% ROI range is pretty typical. If things aren't going well, it'll be lower than that. Or if there's intentional choices to just sell through a lot of quick moving stuff that's lower ROI, it can be lower. 21% is also high for my business. Especially last year, my ROI was not that high. And the interesting thing is last year I probably will end up doing more in sales than this year, but it will be at a lower ROI. So this year, I think I'm gonna do slightly less in sales. Last year I did around 700K. This year I will probably do slightly less, but my margin is gonna be a lot better. So we are through January, February, March, and April. Kind of looking back at over the year, I'm super happy with how this month went. This is the third month in a row where the profit has been in the $9,000 to $12,000 a month range. March was around $12,000, February was around $9,000, and January ended up being like $4,000. Returns were really bad, and I was transitioning out from selling used items. So basically the model that I do is online arbitrage, and a lot of people in the online arbitrage space like to track their inputs into the business by thinking about how much they spend on profitable inventory. And that's a really good way to try to actually get you to really send a lot of inventory in, because a lot of beginners have a problem where they're like, cool, like I sourced $200 profit. Like I'm gonna sit here for a month and just let that send in to Amazon FBA and just do nothing for the rest of the month. With Amazon, you really do have to feed the beast, as they call it. You can't just send in a little bit and be like, well, why didn't that sell? It's been 2 weeks. No, you need to like keep sending in lots of inventory. So instead of a spend goal, we have a what's called potential profit goal. So basically in a month, we plan on purchasing and sending into Amazon FBA around $20,800 of profit. Don't ask me why it's that particular of a number. That's just how it worked out. But basically, we are trying to send in that amount of profit every single month into Amazon FBA, basically highballing it. That way, when things go down in price, when things get stranded, when things go slightly wrong, and after all of our costs in the business, which are around anywhere between $2,500 and $4,000 per month, that we're able to cover those with the profit that actually sells. And the $2,500 to $4,000 is not cost of goods, that's just external costs like software, prep center fee, paying for virtual assistants, anything else in that arena. So what we do is we send in $20,800 of potential profit, and one thing that has really helped me is that we have been using a prep center for around a year and a half now. So basically what a prep center does is they receive your items for you and they send them to Amazon for you. When you sell on Amazon FBA, typically you're gonna either go to a store in person and then you're gonna have to send the items out yourself, or you're doing online arbitrage and you're having the stuff sent to your house and then you have to send it to Amazon. You can't just order it straight to Amazon and it gets active in Amazon. I wish that could be the case. Instead of those, what we do is we just have the address that we purchased to be the prep center. We enter it into a spreadsheet and they list it to Amazon for us for a fee. So we pay around $1.70 per unit and they take care of this for us. And on top of that, what we're trying to do is send in $20,800 of potential profit, and also with the criteria that it's gonna sell within a month's time of going active on Amazon FBA. That way our money is cycling through as fast as possible. Some people definitely want their stuff to sell even faster than that. Some people really buy up and buy months and months and months of inventory because that's when they're able to get the deal, and so they buy extremely deep. What we like to do is we typically try to stick to around a month of when we send something in that it should sell within a month of that time. And we make an exception if the ROI is higher. So if it's double the ROI of what we're looking for, we'll be okay with it selling in 2 months because the output is the same. Some things that I'm really happy about in the business and some things that are challenges right now. So starting with the successes, this year is feeling much smoother than last year. And to put it in perspective, I've been selling online since 2019. As you can probably imagine, getting started in 2019 that long ago, there were tons of mistakes to be made. I was selling on Depop. It wasn't even as big as eBay, and so there's less customers, and so the sell-through rate was messed up and super slow. And then eBay, I was selling used items, and so the margins were really good, and also the listing process takes a long time. Between all of those things and the slow progressions from first just selling used clothing and then doing some used shoes as well, and then also learning that I could buy stuff like necklaces and remodel them and sell them on Depop, to progressing into other business models, there's a lot of things that I learned, and basically all of those things are skills that we can all put together to get to where we are now. And so I'm super thankful and happy with how things are going this year because it's kind of a culmination of learning all those skills over the last several years. Like last year, for example, I started doing eBay to Amazon, and I was doing completely used items, sending the items to a prep center without testing them. And I wasn't doing like used like new items, I was doing used good items that had a higher percentage of breaking and having problems. And so last year I got to learn about how to actually deal with those issues and how to avoid some of those issues while making some money at the same time. And this year I get to experience having learned those lessons and being able to navigate the space a lot better. So now the challenges. Probably the number one challenge that we're facing right now is being able to actually sort through and focus on the highest leverage opportunities in our business. So like, for example, in our replen tracker, we have lots of items that we could source and make $10 here, $23 here, $15 here, $48 here, but it takes time and effort to go in and make sure that the condition is right and make sure that we are staying in stock on these items. And a lot of these items are just items that only sell once or twice a month. And so finding a way to find the ASINs that are actually gonna be bigger opportunities for us, like we have a couple items that are doing much, much better than that, but going out there and finding better opportunities, that way we can actually really maximize our time and buy a lot at the same time. is where we're going to level up and save a lot of time in our business. And then number 2, our return rate is still kind of high. It's in the ballpark of 13 to 16%. I would still say it's better than something like apparel, but we're selling a lot of electronics, office supplies, tools, computer accessories, and it's pretty hard to keep the return rate down when we're considering that I'm not doing my own prep, a prep center is doing it, and so it's really hard to inspect the items before we have them sent in. And so most likely a couple percentage points of that is just because we're literally sending in stuff that is open box instead of new every once in a while. And so there's just no way at scale that we're able to do that unless I was to have a warehouse and have employees who are inspecting for that. And this is much more so a lifestyle business for me, and I don't want to have that type of commitment at all. So trying to figure out ways like, all right, like, are there certain items that have lower return rates that we can just prep center and have no problems with? And also, are there certain categories that are going to be less returns? That way we just make sure that we're actually selling stuff and the customers are happy with their stuff. Because if we have too high of a return rate, there's going to be that 1 out of 1,000 customer who is mad enough that they're going to send counterfeit claims to us, and that's a major problem. So we want to minimize that as much as possible and also help our cash flow go well. But all in all, this was just a business update. I'm extremely happy with where we are. Always have room to grow. I'm super excited though. I love Amazon, especially this business model. If you are interested in learning more, there are links in the description to help you learn more about eBay to Amazon, which is particularly what I do. And I have some tools and resources and a Discord group that you can ask more detailed questions about. So hope you guys have a great rest of the day and take care.